for taking time out of your busy schedules to come out and sip and secure. We're going to learn about how AI is going to be affecting networks with cybersecurity, and there couldn't be any better person that could teach you about this than our president and CEO. Without further ado, let's welcome Ikram Massabini.
Thank you, thank you. I know most of you, so thanks all for coming, and some people I don't, so welcome, and I hope you find this interesting. So I'll get started. I'm Ikram Massabini. I have two publications, Computers Should Just Work and Cyber Security Essential for Business. They're over there. Please feel free to take your own copy. But we'll get started. Today it's a little different. It's a conversation about something new in technology, about AI, and what that's all about. So what is AI? Artificial intelligence, but if you ask Apple, they'll tell you it's Apple intelligence, but it's really artificial intelligence. And it's actually not very intelligent. Let's get that straight, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So the meaning is that AI refers to the simulation of human intelligence processes by machines. In other words, we're trying to build the way that we think in a computer, especially computer systems. But AI comes in all different types of forms. You guys are familiar with Alexa. That's part of an AI. Even a Tesla car now will be driven by AI, and they have their own, if you will. So something to realize that AI is just not computers. It includes learning, reasoning, and self-correction. That's the big piece. The idea is for it to learn what we ask it to do, go out there, investigate it, and then make self-corrections to make sure that it gives you the right answers. But how does it work, really? So, number one, it needs a lot of data to give you any answer. And what that means and how they built it is engineers downloaded the whole internet, and I do mean the whole internet, English internet as we know it, and from everything that we know. Every website, every article, every Facebook ad, every Facebook thing that you've done, anything on the internet has been downloaded, okay? And everything has been put in one text file, one large text file. I'm just trying to explain it in English as much as possible, so bear with me here. So one large text file, .txt, is the internet. It's pretty big. And then they assign the number to every single word within that text file. So for instance, motherhood is 49836. All right? So that's the second step, is to, after you download the internet, you give a number to every word. And after that, then they put all those numbers into a neural network, and I'll explain that a little bit. So a neural network which looks like cells connected to other cells, but it's really processors talking to each other, so that they're able to do a lot of processing power at the same time. They copied the basic structure of our brain, and they put it inside of a computer. How we think, how we talk, how we reason, and how we self-correct. Now, it is similar to how our brain works. And really, this is what it looks like, that picture. But now we have a brain inside of a computer, but the brain is really dumb because it just got born. We just built it. We don't know what it knows. It doesn't know what it knows. It just knows that it has a lot of access to a lot of data. So then we needed to train it. All right? So what engineers have done is that they've trained it billions and billions of times. Every time they ask it a question, the question is wrong, they'll correct it. And because it's self-correcting, it starts to learn. And because it doesn't sleep, it learns a lot faster than we would, because it's computing power all the time. So every time it gives you the wrong answer, engineers tweak it again and again until the dumb brain becomes really, really smart. That's the hope. And we're getting there, unfortunately or fortunately. So that's kind of how it's built. I hope that makes sense. But then, by the way, there's a lot of different AIs, right? You guys probably heard of ChatGPT. Tesla has their own. There's one called Falcon 180B. 180B is 180 billion different ways they did it. There's Gemini from Google. It's terrible, but they're getting there. But it's getting there. So the idea is AI will help humanity and businesses in ways we can't even think about yet. So companies are racing to build the best AI. So we have manufacturers building it, getting ready to get it ready and to get it trained. And some people have it in open source. In other words, people can access it and see how the AI works. And some have it in closed source, like ChatGPT. You just give it a question, it provides an answer. You can't do anything to it. Something to be aware of. So why is it important? It's important because it's very powerful. Because a lot of businesses, 45% of them, are now looking at AI. How can AI help businesses? How can it help your business? How can you use it to make it part of your day-to-day? And how can your partners or clients use it? So right now, the estimation is AI over till 2030, it will be a $1.8 trillion industry. It's a big number. And 73% of organizations waste time on manual tasks that AI can do. And this is where we're going to start on the power of AI and what it could do for us from a business perspective. So having said that, example of AI, Copilot, Microsoft is releasing it soon, Copilot Plus, you're going to have to pay for that one, but it's really linked to ChatGPT 4.0. Apple AI is also ChatGPT 4.0. That's why Elon Musk was very upset that Apple didn't pick them and didn't want any of the iPhones in his offices. And if you have an iPhone, you have to put it inside of a vault before you could walk in. It's because they didn't pick his AI, that's all. He wanted Apple to pick his AI as the one. But his AI is built into Tesla, and the idea is every Tesla car will be AI-driven, so eventually it will drive itself. That's what we'll get to. But AI requires a lot of processing. For it to be able to read that text file, that's everything on the internet, it takes a lot of power to make that happen. It takes a lot of electricity, and it takes a lot of processing power. And the company that's really doing it more than everybody else is Nvidia. It's because AI prefers to use a graphic processor over a traditional Intel x86 processor. So that's why Nvidia has, if you buy stocks, I highly recommend them, but they are growing because of that. And they spent a lot of their money after they realized that their graphic accelerator were highly efficient at training AI models. So every company is trying to buy Nvidia chips. That's why it's growing. However, every other company that makes chips are trying to compete with Nvidia. They're not there yet. Nvidia has been in the graphic world for a lot longer than all of them. So for them to be able to catch up, even Intel, big powerhouse, they don't have the kind of graphic chips that Nvidia does. So I'm going to give you some of my predictions. All right, so my predictions on AI is this. Number one, I think soon enough, like everybody that has an email address, a website, everybody will also have an AI agent. Every company will have it. With just a few clicks, you'll be able to boot up an AI agent and it will be able to help you. It will help you with customer service. Somebody calls, AI picks up, be able to transfer calls on your behalf, answer questions. You could train it on certain things that you wanted to learn more about your business so that it's available all the time. Sales, making outbound calls for you, like this event. Now, we didn't have an AI do it, but it's possible. And there's a lot of different companies creating AI models to do these type of functions. Connected.ai, if you guys want to try it out, starts with a K, but connected.ai, and they'll give you a phone number, you call it, you talk to AI as your heart desires, and you'll ask it questions, it will respond, and the whole idea is to get you to schedule an appointment with a sales rep. But it does work. And communicate with customers, things that we didn't even think of yet, AI will be able to do. And it's important to know that. Same with creators, right? There's a lot of creators that create content. Well, creators, their issue is they're not available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and people want more content. But if they have an AI agent, and they train the AI agent upon their philosophies and their core values and what they want the message to be out there, AI will be available as if it's them answering everybody. AI is becoming a lot stronger. We played with Apple's AI, ChatGPT 4.0. It's linked to it. However, the way that Apple did it is polished it up a little bit. It did was, if you get an email and somebody says, okay, we can meet between this day and that day, AI will read the email and give you suggestion and schedule the appointment and be your personal assistant. There's quite a bit that Apple is going to do. So if you have an iPhone and the new upgrade that's coming September, October, you'll start seeing that kind of power built into your phone already. So it's happening, and it's happening really quickly. So these are my prediction, and everybody here will have an AI agent soon enough, just to let you know. So how would businesses use AI? Well, whether being coding, because you could ask it to code programs for you. You don't have to write code anymore. Just say, write this for me, and it will write the code. Whether being accounting, looking at invoices coming in, automatically putting where they belong and putting it in the system. Whether being sales and marketing and making outbound calls or receive some of your calls for you. Or customer service, which is ideal. And HR and hiring and operations and cybersecurity. And that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about cybersecurity and how is AI going to affect cybersecurity. All right. Any questions so far? So far, so good. We're halfway done. See, it's painless. Okay, so what does this have to do with cybersecurity? Right? 77% of businesses have faced AI security breaches already. Hackers are using AI in ways we don't think of a lot. So I'll give you some examples. AI is a machine learning application, and it allows programs to identify patterns and apply them in problem solving. So if you have a hole in your security and the pattern is the same, AI will be able to capture that hole and know where your hole is, right? Can defend faster than people from a defense perspective because it's available 24 hours a day and can take action as it sees things happening. And it could process enormous data at the same time because of all the chips out there and all the processors. So it could use biometrics to start eliminating passwords. We're trying to get there. So whether it being Windows Hello, or now you're used to it on your phone where it sees your phone, we want to try to think about the user experience. And even though we're adding a lot of security tools and a lot of things happening up front, we want the user experience to be smooth, right? We don't want you to have to enter. How many people don't like MFA, right? How many times you have to enter codes and go open up your phone or your watch and what's happening? Happens all the time. It's important to understand that that's for your security, and please continue to use it. I'm not saying don't use that. Let's get that straight. But in the future, AI will be able to do some of the MFA work for you so you don't have to do it. So you can perform real-time analysis, make corrections, fill gaps, predict areas of high vulnerabilities. So let me give you a kind of an understanding on how fast it's working. So ChatGPT today, it passed the bar exam, it passed the law exam, it became a doctor, it passed the MD exam, and its IQ is about 155 today. Einstein's IQ was 160, okay? So, and this is just the tip of the iceberg because ChatGPT 4 is 10 times as powerful as ChatGPT 3.5, and it only happened in 6 months, and without very little tweaks from OpenAI. They didn't do much to the application. The application improved itself, and it continues to do that, right? So if you think about it, and think about it 10 years from now, some engineers are saying, well, that its IQ will be like 1600 by the time we get there. And in that case, think about Einstein talking to somebody that, a Neanderthal, and trying to explain the theory of relativity. You think that Neanderthal, that's us by the way, will know what Einstein is talking about? Not at all. So what's going to happen is it's going to surpass our intelligence. And that's why people are scared of it. Because it may be able to do things that we can't even understand. We don't even know what it's saying, right? And what it's doing. Now, there's limitations. AI doesn't move yet. Not yet. Cars are coming. They have robots. That's coming. So there'll be some stuff that's happening, but that's how it's growing. But what does that have to do with cybersecurity, right? How can we use it? So FBI warns that growing danger of cyber criminals are exploiting AI. Cyber criminals are going to use AI just like we're going to use AI. And may the best man win, if you will. But it's growing at a very high rate. So AI can be manipulated by a hacker. it can be labeled as malicious payload as safe. So the AI may not think it's doing something bad because it's built like, I can't do anything bad. There's certain things certain governance, and we need more of that, by the way. And I'm not for big government looking at what we do, but at the same time, we do need to have some kind of law in place so that AI can't just run rampant everywhere. However, AI can lie to you. AI can do things, so it can be manipulated, and biometric data can be hacked. So now think about this. If your biometrics data is if you go to the airport now, there's something called Clear so that you can bypass the big line, and then they take pictures of your retina. Well, I don't want my biometrics in somebody's system. I mean, that's really what's happening. You're giving them the rights to do that. When you have a fingerprint somewhere in a company that you don't know, well, that company has a system and they have a copy of your fingerprints. If they ever got hacked, then that hacker now has your biometrics and can log into your stuff without having your password. So AI can be used for criminal purposes. It can be tough to hack and trick users. AI can be used to create malware. So the hackers don't even have to write the code anymore, right? They can just tell AI, write this code, this is what I want it to do, and go hack people, and it will. So how are we going to protect ourselves? Because AI is thinking fast, it doesn't stop 24/7, 365, and we're just building more processors, giving it more power, and the more power we give it, the faster it learns, right? So let's talk about that. How do we protect against cyber threats, including AI-driven attacks? Because there's a lot of them. So I'm going to talk about the layers to defend. All right, I'm going to talk about a network. I mean, it's a little technical, but I'll try to make it non-technical as I did so far today. So let's talk about that. Number one is data. So really, what are we trying to protect? We're trying to protect our data. Our content, whatever we create. When you put pen to paper, that's the important piece. It's not Word that's important. It's the words that you put in the document that's important. It's not the system. It's the data inside the system that's important, right? Because you're entering your client's data. You're entering your patient's data. You're entering information in a system. You don't care about the system if the data is available. Well, data is what we're really trying to protect. And to protect data, there's different ways to do it. One with data loss prevention system or encryption. That data lives in an application. If you create data, you're creating it through an application, whether it being Word, Excel, and database, or MedDent, or other systems that you guys use out there. Whatever system it is, it's an application. And so that's the second layer that we're trying to protect. So first layer is data. The second layer, data lives in an application. And that application layer, I definitely recommend a application allow listing solution in that case, which what it does is it sits on your machine and learns what you use. And then when we put it in protect mode, nothing else will run. So we'll only run the things that we allowed it to run because we have a list of it. And we say, all right, this is the only things that you're allowed to run. Now, it has some negatives. You're trying to download something off the internet. You click on something. Well, guess what? It's not going to install it. It's going to say, you're going to need to get that approved first. And most hacks in general, are an application running on your machine. Every single virus is an application running on your machine. If we're able to stop the applications that we don't know from running, now we're able to protect that layer. And but that application is sitting on a computer. And that computer has hardware, right? I'm trying to take it into, the layered approach. All right, so to protect the endpoint, the computer itself, whether it being a Mac like I'm using, or it doesn't matter what you're using, right? To protect that OS that has all your data on it, we recommend something called an MDR, Managed Detection and Response. It's kind of antivirus on steroids, if you will. It's antivirus, anti-spyware, anti-ransomware, and it usually comes with a SOC that listens to every event, and if there's an issue, within 15 minutes they jump on and take action, first line of defense, and they alert us, and that's the idea of having a strong, really protecting your endpoint. Because your endpoint is if they get access to to that endpoint, they can then maybe jump from one endpoint to the other, get to your servers, and now get your data. Because that's all they want. They really want your data. And sometimes they want your hard drive space just to put data on it and then share it. Now, people that do that, they don't want to be responsible for that data. So it's usually dark data, if you will, data that you don't want to have on your computer, but it's hidden and shared from your computer. And if something does happen, you're responsible for it, right? And then if you use mobile devices, a mobile device management system will definitely be something there. So that's the third layer. So data, the data lives in an application. The application is loaded on a computer. That computer is connected to a network, right? Every computer is connected to a network, whether being on Wi-Fi or you're at home and you connect it through a Spectrum and you're going online, or you're at the office and you actually have a lot of computers on your network. Now we have to protect that network. And in order to log into a network, log in everywhere, we recommend multi-factor authentication, mentioned it a second ago. And the second one will be domain hardening. And what that is that when you build a network, you have to really not leave everything as stained. You don't click next 3 times and then finish, right? There's different settings that needs to be done that hardens that network to make it more difficult for people to be able to jump from one computer to the other. Having said that, it's not a tool, but it's a set of settings that has to be done on a network to make sure that network is hardened properly. And then, so that's layer 4, 6 layers altogether. The 5th layer is that network is connected to a perimeter. Whatever network you're connected to, you have a firewall. SonicWall is here. Thank you, SonicWall, for coming, by the way. So SonicWall is here, and that perimeter is basically your access to the internet. And what we recommend there is obviously a firewall. You have to have a firewall from stopping anything to just coming through. The second piece is DNS sanitization. Okay, what that is, if you try to go to a website like CNN.com or ESPN.com, you put that in, it goes to a DNS server. DNS is domain name services. And then it assigns, it looks it up and it says, oh, CNN.com is this IP, I'm going to take you there, and then it loads. Well, we use a DNS sanitization service that actually accesses your DNS, but also has things that it scans before it comes to you, before your firewall. So you don't end up on the wrong CNN. Because a lot of hackers will take what that website looks like and will make it look the same just so that you can click on something on it thinking it's CNN, but in reality it's not. It's a fake website and you're downloading something on your machine. So DNS sanitization tried to help mitigate some of that risk. And then email security, because your data is in email. Once you click send, it goes out there. So what do you have encryption in your email? Is there security wrapped around your email system to make sure that it doesn't get hacked? And then the last layer is the human layer. It's all of us. We click on stuff we're not supposed to. Stop doing that. At the end of the day, be careful. And don't believe anything that you see. And I'll give you one piece of advice. If you get an email and you're like, is that real? Oh my God, somebody, a charge came on from MNT, and an MNT came in and says, hey, is that you? Click here to make sure. Don't click there to make sure. Go out, log into MNT from your own system. Don't use their link. Use the link that you know. And then you'll be able to tell if it really was real or not, because you'll be able to see if it's there or not. Be careful on what you click on. I say, if you doubt it, don't click it. So for humans, most hacks happen because your password got hacked. So we use our passwords, the same password, time and time again. You go to Target, they want you to sign up. Sure, this is my password that I use all the time. You go to this other company. Yeah, that's the password I use. I'm going to put an exclamation point at the end. It's different now. And all passwords usually get stored inside your browser. And that is not an encrypted application. So as a hacker, I jump in, and the first thing I see, I came through a browser, port 80, and I'm like, oh, look at all the passwords, thank you. And then I'll be able to then have access to everything that you see, including your bank account. You'll be surprised what kind of passwords we can get out. And that's a test that we got to do. And that's the whole idea here is let's test the environment. Let's not forget about that. And let's not forget to train our people. Just like AI is being trained, humans need to be trained too, so that they have a better critical eye of what's happening, so that they're aware that, hey, I shouldn't be clicking on something I'm not supposed to click. Let's make sure that that happens. So that's basically our layers. And the layers usually feed a SIM, or a security information and event management. It's a log aggregator. So if you have a virus or you have ransomware, what happens is it does the same function over and over again because it needs to encrypt your data. So it encrypts this file, then encrypts that file, then encrypts that file. A SIM realizes those because that's an AI-based solution. It realizes those patterns like we talked about and say, hey, wait, let me alert somebody that there is something happening that could be very serious. So having these kind of tools and making sure, now do you need all the tools? Well, it depends on your risk aversion. I mean, are you willing to say, listen, if I'm down for 2-3 days, I'm fine. Okay. If I'm down for 1 minute, we're in trouble. Well, then you may need something deeper. All right? And that's the idea here, is to work with us as consultants to really show you what you need versus what you want versus what you should have. Okay? And then when it goes in the SIM, it alerts the SOC, and the SOC alerts us, and we take action. And the whole thing is wrapped with a VC. So we highly recommend having somebody responsible for security within your company. I mean, we could do that for you. But if you still have somebody internally that kind of is responsible, is the SPOC, the single point of contact for security things, so that we are able to work together. We're able to go and do the assessments, the vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. We're able to do some of the work that needs to be done, so at the end of the day, we know where the holes are, and we stay on top of it. And if you need to be compliant, your VCSO will make sure you're compliant, whether it's being HIPAA, NIST, CMMC, whatever it may be. There's sets of compliant rules you need to adhere to. Your VCSO will be the person that helps with that. And with our help, we can guide you through compliancy. So that's basically, but I highly recommend having cybersecurity insurance. And I can tell you this, not every cyber insurance covers ransomware. Make sure you have that rider. You know, we've had a non-client came to us with ransomware, and we were helping them out. Even though they had insurance, they didn't buy the rider for ransomware. They didn't know they didn't buy it, by the way. They thought they had it. They're like, yeah, we'll just call the insurance company. Well, it's not that simple. Because the insurance company, well, you didn't pay the extra $300 a year, so now you don't have that. And I can't help you. So that is real stories that we've experienced and seen it happen. So these are how we're going to protect against AI. We got to be ahead of it. We have to have different tools. And these tools are all AI-driven as well. So it learns from the patterns that it sees. So by the end of 2024, 93% of security leaders predict to encounter an AI-driven attack. That goes without saying. So there's too much to lose here. There's too much data for us to worry about. There's too much to lose when it comes to the networks that you guys protect, that you guys work in. So what we're offering today is a free cybersecurity assessment and evaluation. And feel free to scan that little QR code. But what we'll do is, number one is we won't need any administrative credentials. We're going to pretend we're a hacker. We're going to send you a link, basically. You're going to click on that link, and that link is going to pretend to be a hacker. It's going to see what it can get out of your machine. It's going to see if it can bounce from one machine to the other. Can it get to your server? What else can it do? What kind of data can I get? Can I give you your passwords and tell you what you have in there? Can I tell you what social security numbers that you may have somewhere on your network? You'll be surprised what we find, right? So no administrative credentials. We won't install anything on your network. Again, we're pretending to be a hacker. I'm just going to send you a link. You're going to click on it as if you clicked on something you're not supposed to click. That's the idea here. So we will send you the link. Send it to 5 key users, because 1 is not enough. At least 5. Send it to everybody, but send it to at least 5. You're going to click run and start the scan, and then we'll meet with you and go through that confidential report. We'll be able to tell you what we were able to find. And some of you had experienced this already here, and that's why you're back. So without further ado, here's the scan. If you guys have any questions, I'm available. I hope you guys have found this interesting.